Okay, so today we're going to crack open a book that really has been collecting dust for about a century. It's a guide to practical magic, a collection of everyday remedies, and, a set of spiritual life hacks from a world that feels so distant, but also surprisingly familiar. I mean, think about it. Lost your keys? Totally. Stressed about a meeting? Who isn't? But just imagine a time before you could Google your symptoms, before you could run to a 24-hour pharmacy. Where would you turn for help? Well, this book, Rafael the Angel, promised to be that answer for everything. So, to really get why this book was such a game changer, we have to understand the world it was born into. This was a time when getting help was complicated, and a lot of the so-called solutions were honestly worse than the problem itself. And listen to this. These are the author's own words. Rabbi Yudel Rosenberg looked around at the folk medicine of his day and was just horrified. He saw people using these remedies that were not only completely grotesque and impossible to find, but in his mind, they were spiritually dirty. So you gotta understand, here was the choice people had. You could try to find a doctor, but they were usually far away and cost a fortune. Or you could turn to local magic, but that often meant calling on angels and spirits in ways that were considered totally forbidden, even dangerous. Rosenberg saw his community stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so he came up with a third way. He created a book of remedies and charms that was easy to get, affordable, and, this is the most important part, spiritually kosher, or, permissible. And he called it Rafael the Angel, naming it after the angel of healing. Okay, before we go any further, we absolutely have to wrap our heads around this key concept, a segula. It's not exactly a magic spell, and it's not quite a prayer. Think of it like a spiritual tool. An action you take right here in the physical world to kind of trigger a positive result from a higher one. It's the whole framework for this book. And this just shows you how brilliant Rosenberg's idea was. I mean, look at this comparison. He took these gross, rare ingredients and replaced them with stuff you could find in your kitchen, like onions or goat's milk. He swapped out scary, forbidden incantations with just reading psalms. He basically cleaned up folk magic, making it safe for any regular, devout family. All right, let's get into the good stuff. What's actually in this book? It's broken down into sections, and the first one deals with the stuff that worries people most, physical problems. So, got an earache? The book says, hey, try some onion juice and almond oil. Kidney stones? Drink goat's milk for 3 days straight. Back pain? A hot sack of sand. You can see the pattern, right? These are all simple, practical things that pretty much anyone could get their hands on. It's this really cool mix of what we'd probably call herbalism and just common sense. But, of course, life's problems aren't all physical. So the book dives right into the messy, complicated world of relationships, with a whole section dedicated to love and affection. And this is where things get really, really interesting. The solutions for the heart were a bit more involved than a sack of sand. So how did the book say you could capture someone's heart? I mean, you can't make this up. To win a woman's love, a man was told to get a very specific type of golden apple, add 3 drops of his own blood to it, and then get her to eat it. It is so dramatic, so visceral. It sounds like something straight out of a Grimm's fairy tale. But hey, not all the love charms were quite so theatrical. Some were as simple as saying a specific verse over a cup of water you give to someone. And then there was one for a wife trying to win back her husband's affection. It suggested, mixing her sweat into his wine. It just shows you the incredible range from the super poetic to the deeply personal and, let's be honest, kind of weird. So the last big section of the book moves past health and love, and it gets into luck, protection, and just dealing with a social world. You know, how to find lost things, shield yourself from enemies, and just get some good fortune on your side. We've all been there, right? That feeling of pure panic when you realize your keys, your wallet, your phone, it's just gone. It's a universal anxiety, and Rafael the Angel had a very specific spiritual plan for it. And notice what's happening here. It's not just a passive prayer. First, you have to do something good. Give charity in the name of a famous wise man. Then you make your request. It connects your personal problem to a selfless act, which is a really powerful psychological and spiritual formula. And then, on the darker side of things, what if you had an enemy spreading gossip about you? Yep, the book had a fix for that too, and this one is pure folk magic. It involved getting a thread from a burial shroud, a powerful symbol of silence, and tying knots in it while you say a specific phrase to metaphorically tie the tongue of your enemy. So, After all this, after looking at these remedies and rituals from onion juice for earaches to burial shrouds for gossip, what do we actually take away from it? Is this just a goofy collection of old superstitions? No, here's the crucial part. The real magic of this book wasn't about whether the potions actually worked. It was that it gave people something to do. In a world where you had very little control over your health, your money, or your fate, these rituals gave you a sense of agency, a way to fight back against all that uncertainty and despair. So when we look back at Rafael the Angel, we're seeing so much more than a book of charms. We're seeing a map of what people worried about: getting sick, falling in love, money, what people thought of them. We're seeing a tool for empowerment. It's this incredible mashup of religious faith, ancient folklore, and what we'd now probably call practical psychology. It's all a testament to our timeless human need to find answers and feel in control. And that just brings it right back to us today. We might not be using golden apples and drops of blood, but we have our own rituals, don't we? Our wellness routines, our productivity apps, our biohacking, our manifestation journals. What do these modern sugalas, these life hacks, say about our own anxieties? What are we trying so desperately to control in our own uncertain world? It's definitely something to think about.